Welcome back to another video of the First Look Sports Talk. If you're new to this channel, I am your host, Angel Dallas Reyes. Got my co-host here.
It's your boy Jay Wood.
Welcome. So we've been breaking down these NFL divisions. We're on the back end now. Got two more left. So right now we're gonna attack the NFC North. Got some great teams in this division. Historic franchises, been around for a long time. But before we get into this video, we always encourage you guys to subscribe, like, and comment. Do whatever you got to do. Share us to your grandparents, parents, friends, cousins, aunties, uncles, whatever. But yeah, let's get to it.
Let's get down to business.
All right. So we're going to start off with the Green Bay Packers, going 13-3 this past year. Perfect. Number one seed in the NFC. Didn't really bring anyone in because I know they don't really got too much cap room. But they did lose their Pro Bowl All-Pro center, Corey Linsley, and then a linebacker as well, Christian Kirksey. But those are two players that you can kind of replace in the draft, or maybe a little veteran minimum in free agency as well. But the big thing they did this offseason is they did bring back Aaron Jones, 4-year, $48 million deal. Something that they had to do, because if they didn't really bring back him, they had Jamal Williams was a free agent as well. So bringing back Aaron Jones kind of give them that 1-2 punch of him and A.J. Dillon. I know he had a little breakout in the end of the season as well.
Big back.
But yeah, that is something that they needed to do to kind of keep this offense as good as it was last year.
Right. It's well deserved.
Yeah.
It's well deserved. He really carried the offensive load running the ball at least.
Yeah, for sure. These past 2 years, he's been one of the best backs in the league. Kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah.
His fantasy go crazy.
He can come out the backfield and catch the ball as well. I know I've noticed him being able to break like 80-yard runs like once a year at least.
Mm-hmm.
So that is someone that they brought back. It's very explosive and can rely on. But we'll take a look at this offense. First overall offense this past year. 9th ranked passing offense and an 8th ranked rushing. Averaged 31.8 points a game, NFL best. 80% red zone percentage on touchdown conversions. 48 passing touchdowns, NFL best. Only 5 picks thrown, NFL best. And then only sacked Aaron Rodgers 21 times, second least in the NFL. So really a top-notch offense. Led by A-Rod.
Right. This is one of his best seasons, coming off an MVP type year. Wait, did he win the MVP?
I believe so. I don't know.
I think he did. I'm pretty sure he did.
I don't know who else would have won it.
I can't think. I think he won it, but it was just classic Aaron Rodgers. Everyone thought he was going down. They drafted the successor, and this is his response. He said, "I'm nowhere near done." And he proved that. And all these offensive statistics that he just read off, that proves what the sauce they was cooking is still good. Like that little pot they got going is really vital.
Oh, for sure. Kudos to Matt LaFleur too, coming in. This year he went 13-3. I believe last year he went like 11-5, 12-4. So he has really come in and solidified this team and put him in the right direction, compared to what Mike McCarthy was doing. But this Aaron Rodgers is just proving that he's still that guy. He's about 36, 37, and he's probably can do it for about 5 more years, especially how they protect the quarterbacks nowadays. You see Brady doing it at 43. Why can't Rodgers do it until then too?
Yeah, I would say like 3 years. I don't know if he's really the type to want to go play that long.
True.
It
Yeah.
doesn't seem like he wants to. It seems like he already knows he's on his back end of his career. He's on the final nine of his. If he was golfing, you feel me? Like so. I mean, with this team, they have probably like a short window, probably like 3 years, 2, 3 years to go get him one more. I think once they get that, or if they get that, he'll kind of ride off into the sunset.
Yeah. And he did start off a little late too, because he was kind of how they did with Jordan Love. They picked him, and then he had to back up Brett Favre for a little bit, and Brett Favre was over here saying that he was gonna retire, coming back, retire, come back. Because he started pretty late. I don't know how long exactly it was, but it was like 2 or 3 years he was on the bench to start off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a beast. I think we didn't see this past year. He threw for the most touchdowns, had the least amount of picks. So he's been there and done that. He's seen all of it. I feel like the only thing that kind of um, stopped him was that Tampa Bay defense. How fast they were. They were able to just sit back and come up and make the tackles. And
Mm-hmm.
then took advantage of their opportunities when they needed to as well.
Right. It seemed like the Tampa Bay defense just that last stretch of the season, their front four was just monsters, just eating up every offensive line they faced. And if you could get to the, like we talked about, if you could get to the pass or to the QB with four, dropping eight into coverage, 7, 8 into coverage, like there's not a lot of holes.
Yeah,
And Aaron Rodgers he's like that, but it's these are NFL caliber dudes. Like you can't make all the plays. So I mean, with Aaron, I don't know. This offense is gonna be good.
yeah,
I play with both the Aarons. This offense is gonna be solid. Uh, I don't really know if there's anything else. I mean, we would like to see them add like another dude to complement uh Devontae Adams,
true.
top three player.
Hell of a
But I
year.
mean, from the past experience, they never really go out and sign those big free agent type dudes. So if they do, I would probably see them going through the draft if they wanted to add another wideout.
Yeah, hopefully they do that. Because like you're saying, Devontae Adams, it seemed like he was getting a touchdown every week. They were just kind of designing plays or put him in space, little drag routes, little in the backfield dragging, and then going to the flats, easy pass and catch.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a little breakout tight end too, Robert Tunyon. I don't know. I know he was a free agent. I don't know if they brought him back, probably because I haven't heard anything. But he had a little breakout year as well. And then his like second and third receivers had solid years too. But they've been around a little bit. You don't know how consistent they are going to be. So if someone lands to them in the draft or someone wants to come to them in free agency, go get him because you can never have enough weapons. And if you can kind of upgrade a little bit on that with another weapon, and that's only an advantage for A-Rod. You know, maybe like a speedster who's I don't even know if they have like that 4-3 type of guy out there that can really
Mm-hmm.
stretch the field for them. And then also too, I know A-Rod or Aaron Rodgers, he had a little he said something like in the last game, he's like everyone's future is up for grabs. We don't know. I mean, that's just kind of how it is every year. And then the media just runs with it and makes a story out of it. Um, but he's basically just saying like he wasn't really talking about himself. He's just talking about everyone else in the locker room. Um, but he is hinting a little bit too on himself because he does have 2 or 3 more years on his contract. So I think he probably wants an extension to solidify his status as a Green Bay Packer and then doesn't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Green Bay is kind of weird too, though. They don't have an owner. I don't know if you knew that.
I heard something about that, but I
Yeah,
don't really know how that aspect works. So they like the people.
neither do I either. I just know there's no owner and you can kind of buy stocks in it. I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's more like a
Um,
open trade stock.
yeah, but they do. It's like everything else is like regular, pretty much. They have a general manager, player personnel, like everything else is normal. They just don't have that one owner. It's kind of interesting too. I never knew that until like this past year.
That is a pretty interesting aspect.
Yeah. But I can see that because like Green Bay is kind of like a small town. It's literally like the neighborhood, and then just a big old stadium in that neighborhood.
I need to find out what stock that is. I'm in
it. But yeah, that's the offense, potent offense. Probably see them doing this again because they're basically brought back everyone, so they're just kind of just running back and just build more chemistry. Um, yeah,
the year in the offense for Aaron, more comfortability,
yeah,
getting some. Hopefully, they can find some more threats for him. Um, but yeah, I mean, this offense is pretty stout already.
yeah. We just expect them to come out and be a top five offense, basically.
I mean, if they didn't have Aaron Rodgers, then it'd be a whole different story.
Yeah,
But
who
you
knows
got
how
that
good?
MVP dude back there, so it's pretty solid.
Yeah, who knows how good Jordan Love's gonna be?
Yeah.
But looking at the defensive side of the ball, 13th overall defense, 7th ranked pass, and 14th ranked rush defense. Middle of the pack in scoring defense, giving up 23.1 points a game. Then they were like 5th in conversions against two, allowing opponents to convert 39.5% on third, 58.3 on fourth, and then 57.7 in the red zone on touchdown percentage. So good touchdown percentage in the red zone, only allowing teams to score a little bit under 60%. But I feel like this is kind of like an optimistic defense at the same time, like kind of like the Chiefs, where you don't expect them to be like the best out there, but they do have some playmakers.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Smith brothers, Preston and Zadarius. Um, you got Zaire Alexander as a cornerback out there, young talented corner.
Xavier.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, you got some solid players on that side of the ball that hopefully keep developing and become a star. Basically, I know they have a young Frank Clark D tackle too. I don't really know too much about him, but every time I play Madden, he's just killing the run game. I'm like, man, who is this guy? Never even heard of
God.
him.
Go to the depth chart. He's like a what 85? What?
I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but every play he's just killing my center and guard. I don't know if they does that in real life. But yeah, you
I
know,
know they were talking like second half of the year before the trade deadline was happening. There was a lot of commotion about are they going to get Aaron Rodgers another weapon? Are they going to
yeah,
go towards the defense? Blah 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 blah. I mean, this team was pretty stout. I mean, from the statistics wise, it looks like they were pretty good. Um, I would say maybe work on the front seven a little bit. I know you got a few good guys there, um, but you can always get better up front. Having more depth, more dudes you can send at different times, different positions, different situations.
yeah, for sure. Because you were really good at 13-3, number one seed in the NFC. Now you're the target, so you just got to keep adding. I pretty much expect to see them win the division, but you still have to compete. Because you did lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, didn't make it to the Super Bowl. So you do have to kind of add to your repertoire, and just keep getting better and better. You don't want to look back and be like, "Hey, we were this past year." You just always want to improve, day by day. Look ahead in the draft though. The whole the 29th pick. Basically, I just see them best player available. Um, That's what you kind of have to do in the later, in the first round. You don't want to reach for someone. I know last year they kind of surprised everyone and traded up and got Jordan Love. Um, Probably don't see them doing that again with one of these quarterbacks. Um, but just go get best player available. Like I always say, trading down is always a possibility as well. So go get maybe a weapon for Aaron Rodgers or a defensive playmaker. That's basically what you need. Maybe an O lineman, maybe a D lineman. Just basically add the best player available because you can never have too many good players, in my opinion.
Right. I would say exactly that. Either go get Aaron a threat, or just go solidify some positions, some depth. Um, it's really simple. I mean, Nate, you was right there. It's just the little details, the execution, the
Yep.
whatever it is. It's just it's small. You was right there. You had Tampa Bay on the ropes. You was it was within touchdown or two.
It was like
Yeah, so
4 points or something like that, and it
yeah,
came
it was
down.
close. It was close for a
It
good
came
while.
it came down. It was like a little bit over 2 minutes. It was fourth and goal, I believe, and it was either
Yeah,
go for it and tie the game, or like kick the field goal and hopefully stop them and get the ball back. They kicked the field
right,
goal and they never got the ball back. And,
right.
you got Tom Brady on the other side, so you had that rushing game was just um, being able to get first downs. So
Yeah.
that's how it ended for them.
So with that being said, that makes me think front seven is going to be a vital for them because at the last 4 minute, what's your 4 minute defense, 2 minute defense, whatever. Like you need to be able to stop the run, get that ball back to your offense.
Yeah, we go get a linebacker now.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's some linebackers that you can target in the later round. Now we'll look ahead to the second team in this division. Chicago Bears started off 5-1, then they lost six in a row, I believe.
They went 5-1.
Yeah, they went 5-1 to start off the year. They beat the
I don't
Bucks.
remember that. I don't.
Um, went 5-1, then they lost like 6, 7 in a row. Just not was not looking good, and then they kind of went on a little winning streak again and came back into the playoff picture. Late in the season. I know they were tied with the Cardinals 8-8, and then they had the tiebreaker, so they were able to get that 7th seed. And then they played the Saints in the playoffs. They didn't really bring anyone in. I mean, they brought in Andy Dalton. He's supposed to be QB1 now. So don't really have high expectations for this offense. I know we all know that the ceiling of him. Um, but they let go of Mitchell Trubisky. That era is done. Um, they traded up for him 4 years ago from like 3 to 2. They traded up and they picked Mitchell Trubisky in a draft that had Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. So whoever did that should be fired, if not already.
Right.
Because that's just something that I mean, he kind of looked good. I remember I saw something too. It was like 2018. Mitchell Trubisky had like the best odds to win the MVP. Because he was on the rise a little bit, and then teams started to figure him out, and he just couldn't adjust. He just, for whatever reason it was, he just couldn't do it. And now he's in Buffalo. Hopefully, he kind of brings his career back, but his time in Chicago is done for now.
Yeah, I mean, with Mitch, I was never sold. I
Yeah.
mean, I think he had like 16, 17 starts coming in to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't really seen a real high caliber defense. And then, well, he was in the ACC
Yeah.
other
North
than
Carolina.
Clemson. Yeah, other than
Maybe Florida
Clemson.
State was good. I don't know if they were good back then.
I don't even remember Florida State being that good that year. But it's just, I think that's his role. He's a solid backup.
Yeah.
He's in a good role right now.
Yeah, for sure. Um, but now, like, my question is, what are they really going to do at quarterback? I know they've been linked to Russell Wilson a lot. I know the NFL rumor. I heard this, but then I heard like they didn't really offer this. It's kind of just something that one of their members brought out just to kind of tell the fans, "Hey, we offered this," but who knows if they offered them. But the rumor was offer 3 first-round picks, third-round pick, and then 2 starters. So that is a lot. But you got to give up a big chunk to get Russell Wilson. So if they really did offer that and the Seattle said no, understandable because if they trade him for that, they really don't have a QB. And the Bears can't really offer too much at the quarterback position. they can just offer those picks basically and 2 starters, and who knows who those 2 starters are.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
that's interesting that they offered that, and then like I said, I heard that they might not have offered that. It's just something that they came out after they signed Andy Dalton and kind of just were telling like the fans, maybe like, hey, we did this, kind of get off our back. We tried, and didn't work out.
yeah, that's the NFL for you. They'll try to leak somehow just to fan appeal or whatever to start a new narrative or stuff like that. But I mean, if they did offer that, I don't know. I mean, if I'm Seattle, nah, I think it was. They're not trading Russ. Russ is not going nowhere.
Yeah, I think if they were to trade Russ, they would probably have to offer this and then a QB.
Yeah,
That
or at least
can be a starter for them.
yeah, or at least have like a top pick that they could go and
Yeah,
trade and get one of these five dudes that are seem like they're pretty promising.
yeah, for sure. I think like if the Cowboys offer this and then Dak, or the Raiders offer this and Derek Carr, that's more appealing than just this from the Bears, because they can't offer a quarterback in exchange either. Like, are they gonna get Andy Dalton? Come on now. But also another thing, and Allen Robinson didn't sign his franchise tag. I know he was like, "Hey, I'm no way signing that." And then I know they kind of brought Kenny Galladay in, and we're talking to him, and he said, "All right." He tested the market, wasn't really getting what he wanted, so then he came back and signed it, and he's there for another year. Maybe he can work out a long-term deal, but we'll see on that.
I mean, the franchise tag isn't terrible to play under because you're getting paid top dollar,
Yeah,
but it's just like
it's
the
not
risk of
guaranteed.
injury. Yes,
Yeah,
injury,
it's
you can
game to
get
game.
injured, whatever. Like,
Yeah, because if let's say he got franchised again, I think it goes up like 10% of what the market is, or something like that. But I think it just keeps going up more and more the more you franchise him.
right.
But we'll take a look at this offense. Nothing really too much. 23rd overall, 22nd pass, and 25th rush. Only average about 23.3 points per game. Almost last in conversions, 34.6% on third down, and then 56.4% in the red zone on TD conversions. So not really good numbers for this team. I know they started off hot. They had a little slump in the middle, and they kind of ended the year pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they kind of hit their stride in the end when Mitchell started, and then Nick Foles kind of came in, and they weren't really doing too much. And then Mitchell Trubisky kind of came in again in the end of the season. They started winning. Um, but it was probably a testament to them running the ball a lot more than what they were used to. And Mitchell Trubisky does kind of give that part of the offense too. He can run the ball compared to a Nick Foles.
Yeah.
So he was only to help the offense rush the ball a little bit better.
Yeah. I thought it was just inconsistency from the quarterback position, not being able to
Yeah.
convert on third down. Um, you want to be a game manager. I mean, your OC should put you in positions to where you have short third downs and not, I felt like they were in a lot of third down and longs, which is prime for defenses just to pin their ears back and go get after the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And Mitchell Trubisky's not the best at handling pressure, I would say. Um, and that's kind of where they began to slack, and they had their defense out on the field far too much. And even though their defense is pretty good defenses, you don't want that. You don't want them to be on the field the whole game.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that offense kind of just up and down all year. Even Matt Nagy kind of gave the play calling to his OC. And then I know this couple of days ago, he kind of came out and said that he's going to take over the play calling again. So that's an interesting dynamic behind the scenes that we don't know, that could play a factor in how this team really plays. But we'll take a look at the defense side of the ball. 14th overall, 12th ranked passing, and 15th ranked rushing. Only allowing teams to score 54.7% in the red zone. Um,
Yeah.
Offense just kind of put them in bad positions, but they still got playmakers on that side of the ball with Khalil Mack, Eddie Jackson, Roquan Smith, and they did have Kyle Fuller, but they had to let him go. But you still got solid players. You got that rookie, Jalen Johnson. So yeah, solid defense. I know they're like what I know them for is kind of just making plays and causing turnovers. Poking that ball out, getting the sacks. I know Khalil probably didn't have the best year, but he's still one of the premier pass rushers. He's getting up there in age. But
Yeah.
you expect him to kind of put together a solid year every year.
Yeah, I felt like this defense was just mentally like they could have been the top 5, top 10 defense. They just had no faith in their offense.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like wears on you. Like, damn, I'm always out here. We getting all these third down stops, and it's not happening for nothing. Like, so after a while, that takes a toll on you. I feel like they just kind of like I don't want to say gave up, but they just
It's
got
just
down,
frustrating them a little bit
frustrated. Yeah. So
because that offense wasn't really like they weren't playing complementary football like we talk about. So the offense, let's say they throw a pick in their own red zone, and then the defense has to go out there and stop them with like 30 or 20 yards to go. So they weren't put in good situations to kind of succeed. Um, you can blame it some on the offense, um, but I expect this team if they hopefully the offense come out do a little bit better with Andy Dalton. I know he's a solid starter. We all know what kind of ceiling he has. You don't expect him to come out and throw 300 yards every game. Um, but hopefully the offense gets some consistency so they can only help out this defense.
yeah, I think it's really just having a guy that they can go back there and just trust, have faith in. Like, okay, this guy can get us a win,
Yeah,
and then maybe that defense would play a little bit harder. Um,
yeah,
make
not
some
turn the
more
ball
plays.
over.
Yeah, get the
Yeah.
ball back to them, see what they can do. I
Yeah.
know like 2 years ago, it was like the number one scoring defense. They had
Mm-hmm.
like 6 pick sixes or something crazy. Like they was in touchdown every other game. Like
Yeah.
so
I had
they
that
have the
defense.
potential. They have the potential to be a top defense.
Yeah, for sure. I had that defense in fantasy when they were balling, so I was.
Get all the points, right? Get it up.
But we'll look ahead in the draft. They do hold the 20th pick. Basically just target someone for offense, either an offensive lineman or a wide receiver. I know you kind of have that second tier wide receivers. But I know last year was a really deep draft for the wide receivers. This year it is again. It's another deep draft for wide receivers. So you can easily get one with the 20th pick that can come in and make um, a solid season. Because last year, look at Justin Jefferson picked, I believe, like 22nd, and he was the best receiver out of all of them. So you never know what you can get at the 20th pick and kind of come in and take over a little bit. Or just go get the offensive line because I know they need help too. They're only getting older, and I know they're not that great already.
Yeah, I would like to see them get a running back like Travis Etienne or
True.
Najee.
They
Uh,
got David Montgomery though still.
yeah, I mean they have a good back right now. I just like being able to throw multiple backs at him and
Yeah,
take a
for
little bit
sure.
more pressure off of Andy Dalton. Um, but obviously, a wide receiver could also help. Uh, maybe I would see him more like a Jalen Waddle type guy. If he falls that far, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But like you said, this draft is deep with running or with wide receivers, so you might be able to get one in the second round, third round that could come in and still be a consistent starter for you. But those guys like Travis Etienne, Najee, those guys are going to be probably first, second round, no doubt.
yeah, easily I would say. I know historically running backs don't go in the first round, but those are kind of talents that offer multiple things that they can do. So that kind of um ask for a first round pick. But we'll look ahead to the third team on the Minnesota Vikings, going 7-9 this past year. Lost Kyle Rudolph and Riley Reef. So two starters right there. Brought in Dalvin Tomlinson, a D tackle, and then Patrick Peterson as well. That was their main pickup this year. Signed Patrick Peterson to a 1-year contract worth $10 million, bringing him over from the Cardinals. Maybe this is kind of what he needs to kind of bring his resurrect his career a little bit. I know Mike Zimmer loves to play a little cover two, so Patrick doesn't have to follow that number one receiver no more like he did and play man to man all the time. He can kind of play cover two and kind of just sit back and make plays. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I would say he kind of lost maybe half a step, not a full step, because he was giving up some plays that you really don't see him give up like in the past.
Yes.
He comes in and makes this is kind of the change he needed.
Yeah. Father Time's coming. I mean, he's one of our most intelligent guys in the game right now. So
Yeah.
I mean, when you're a zone player, it allows you to manipulate quarterbacks, know where they're going to be weak, where they're looking. You can kind of switch it up, disguise a little bit, and still play your zone. And like you said, he just doesn't. He's not as fast as he once was, and allow him to play some more zone. Maybe take like into that Richard Sherman type role, just old, but knows the game so well that he can still make plays for you.
Yeah, he's been in the league for 10 years too. It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
But it's been 10 years he's been in the league. It's kind of crazy.
The 2010 draft was ridiculous.
Yeah. But we'll look on this offensive side of the ball. 11th overall, 14th ranked passing, 5th rushing. 4.9 rushing yards a carry, top 5 in the NFL. Weren't too good in the conversions, only in converting 40.9% on third down. But this offense was actually really good. Dalvin Cook, when he was healthy, he was a beast out there. He had over 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, and he can also catch the ball as well.
That boy be token.
So he didn't even look that fast either, but he's able to outrun people out there. And he was just I know when he was on the field, they had a chance to win. He's probably the reason why they beat the Packers in Green Bay. He was the one giving them a chance every game. And then they had Justin Jefferson too, offensive rookie of the year, or second in voting. So they had a little 1-2 punch, and they still have Adam Thielen, a solid receiver.
Solid white boy.
They had Kyle Rudolph. But this is an offense kind of led by Kirk Cousins. I think we all kind of know what Kirk Cousins is now. We don't expect him to do too much, but he can still deliver the ball on time, an accurate ball, and still be able to win some games with him.
My bad.
You're good. But yeah, offense, solid year, I would say. I'm probably going to continue to keep running the ball, be solid with Dalvin Cook as long as he stays healthy. Because I know he's had some trouble staying healthy.
Yeah, if you can run the ball, get the play action pass, you still got some dudes on the outside that are real solid. You can get the ball to. Justin Jefferson has all the potential to be everything that you draft or you think when you draft a person in the first round. I mean, his offense is right there. It really was their defense. I know they lost their safety, Harrison.
Yep.
So
Harrison's still there.
Oh, Harrison is there, but Harris left.
Yeah.
That was confusing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is a little confusing. But yeah, we'll get into the stats for the defense real quick. 29th overall, 25th ranked pass, and 27th ranked rushing. 29 in scoring defense, giving up 29.7 points a game. They were number 4 in conversions against, though, only allowing opponents to convert 39.5% on third down. So solid job there. And they have 15 picks as well, so top 10. and they only had 23 sacks. So,
Mm,
they're kind of inconsistent in some areas. You want to stay consistent all across the board. You can't be great in everything, but just continue to kind of get better in the things that you kind of lacked. I
right.
know this is a Mike Zimmer led defense. You expect him to kind of put a defense out there that competes every week, and giving up almost 30 points a game is just not it.
Right. I think the key to beating this team was just take care of the ball. Take care of the ball, control the clock.
Mm-hmm.
They were gonna find a way to beat themselves, or their offense just didn't have enough to overcome the deficits. I mean, being 15 interceptions is pretty good for defense in one season. Sacks, I would like to see that step up. I know they got rid of one of their veteran D linemen last year. What was it?
Everson Griffin.
Yeah, Everson Griffin. That's who it was.
Yeah.
So they lost him. I don't know if they really had anyone step up and take that role. So maybe that's where they start heading towards in the draft. That front seven, solidifying that. Maybe they need to get some more pressure on the QB. Could lead to even more interceptions.
Yeah.
Um, solidify that defense. Really, they need to knock that scoring defense down. 29th in scoring defense. How
Yeah.
about that?
I know they do have some playmakers though. Like I know Daniil Hunter is on that D
Oh yeah,
line, a stud. I think he was hurt a little bit though. And then you got Kendricks, your linebacker, solid. Um, and you got Smith in the back end, or Harrison Smith in the back end. I know they had some really young corners though at the same time that were rookies, so they kind of just threw them out in the fire and kind of just learning on the fly at the same time. Because they didn't have an off season. Kind of week one was their preseason. So this defense could only improve because they were so young at those, especially in the secondary. Hopefully they can they brought in Pat P, so that solidifies one end.
a
Hopefully
little
he can kind of
better.
come in and teach these young guys how to really play defense at a Pro Bowl level.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you can only get better from this, especially Mike Zimmer. He's a defensive minded coach, so he kind of prides himself winning on the defensive side of the ball. He probably wants them to be a little bit better than offense.
Yeah,
But
that'll probably be their main focus coming into this next year. That's probably why they went out, got PP, paid him 10 mil, even though he might not be worth it physically and on the field wise, but mentally, what he could bring to your locker room, what he could bring to your secondary, what he could bring to your whole defense. That's
yeah,
why he's getting paid.
yeah, for sure. Because if this defense gets a little bit better, that only helps the offense. Because you can run the ball on that side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, but we'll look ahead towards the draft. Hold the 14th pick. Offensive line should be the target here, basically. Kirk Cousins isn't getting any younger. I know they paid him again like a year or two ago. Whatever they see in him, they just got to protect their investment, basically. Um, so go get an offensive lineman if one falls to you. Um, or I always say pick the best player available, because maybe someone does fall in this draft. That's a perfect spot right there to go get someone that falls to them a little bit, even if it's like a wide receiver. Adam Thielen's not getting any younger. Um, so maybe just get someone that just helps the overall team. Maybe someone on defense, like a D lineman, a pass rusher. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I would say defensive line, outside backers, work on stopping the run, getting after the QB. Um, their defense wasn't up to par, like you said. The offense was right there. If you do go offense, I would probably suggest going O line, just to protect, like you say, your asset, your franchise QB. Never could have too many O linemen. I mean, other than that, I mean, this team usually is one of the better teams in this division. So
yeah.
I expect them to be right back up there next year.
Yeah, they were just really inconsistent. Maybe injuries
Yeah.
riddled them up a little bit, where they were just weren't able to stay consistent. Because this was a really an odd year with COVID and how everything was dealt with. So, um, something that we've never seen before. Um, Parts of the game were kind of play into it, like not having OTAs or mini camp or training. Well, they had training camp, but just having training camp and then throwing into the season. It's a little weird, especially when you're used to having all those reps. Um, I know it was like a stat too. Is like these, especially rookies, they get about 1,000 reps before they step on the field, and they weren't able to get that this year. So that's a part of the game that lacked this year and kind of probably impacted more players than we saw. But we'll take a look at the last team in this division, the Detroit Lions, 5-11. Um, got rid of their coach. Patricia just wasn't it. I know he was a Belichick disciple. He just wasn't able to kind of follow in his footsteps and do what he did. Kind of that no nonsense type of guy. But once as a coach like that, and you're not putting out the results, and you're kind of like, is this guy right? Can I really trust him? You just question him basically at that point. So they
Mhm.
do bring in Dan Campbell from the Saints. Kind of a rough rider, I would say. Came in the intro conference and talking about biting kneecaps off.
Like,
Um,
the hell is he talking about buying? I was
yeah,
tripping for a second, but I mean, I love the energy.
yeah,
Uh, Hopefully they can
something new
embody
into the
that.
building. Yeah,
Yeah, hopefully
for
their team
sure.
can embody it and run with it. Because I mean, when you think of Detroit, that's kind of what you think, just like a real tough city.
Yeah,
Um, so hopefully, like they can buy into it and I mean, Detroit seemed like it's been on the low for so long. It's hard. I don't know how anyone could bring them out of the gutter, but I mean, he's up for the task. We'll see how he does.
yeah, for sure. Um, big, um, big splash to start off. I think it was like a week or two after the Super Bowl. Traded Matthew Stafford to the Rams in exchange for Jared Goff, this year's third round pick, and then the next 2 years first round picks. So they got um, a good trade back for Matthew Stafford. I know Jared Goff isn't the best, but he is a starter in this league that can win some games as long as you put him in the right situations. And surround him with some talent. I know they really don't have talent right now.
They
Uh,
lost. Then they lost both of their wide receivers.
yep, they lost Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, and Matthew Stafford. So probably top three guys on offense. And they lost some guys on the defense as well. Jerry Davis, I know he's underrated in the league. Desmond,
Gerard.
yeah. Um, Desmond Trufant, and then Justin Coleman. Um,
That's a big loss. Where is he at? You know, have you heard about Gerard?
I
Because
have not.
he went to Florida. I'm pretty sure he was a
Did
baller.
he? I thought he went to Washington.
He played for Florida, the Gators,
The Gatorades.
the Gatorades. He played for the Gatorades, but now he played for the Gators.
Yeah.
He was a dude. I remember he was smacking. I'm like, who is this guy? And then he went there. I remember watching flashes of him, but like Detroit never on TV. They don't get no TV time,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, for
you got
sure.
to be like a fan. You got to have that
Yeah.
the in-state cable TV to see them.
Yeah.
You
You
feel
got
me?
to be
Like
in the
that's the only
region.
that's the only way you go watch a Detroit game.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, they did. Like I said, they got rid of all those players. Cut ties with them, and then they brought in, Jared Goff is probably gonna be their quarterback. Who knows how long he's gonna be, their quarterback if they really believe in him. Brought
Yeah.
in Tyrell Williams, a receiver that couldn't stay healthy for the Raiders, and then Michael Brockers as well, from the Rams. But I put in here is kind of interesting. Um, when the Rams did get Matthew Stafford, because I know Brockers got traded about 2 3 weeks later, probably. Um, Reporters are asking him, "Oh, how is what do you think about the trade?" Basically, he just basically said it to level up. Uh, that's an upgrade, basically. So that's a kind of interesting dynamic where he goes in a locker room now with Jared Goff. Jared might be, hey, I heard what you said to this reporter and all that. So that's kind of interesting right there.
They already got beef. He not getting no passes.
Yeah.
He get at least he probably get one target a game.
Um. But yeah, this is the Detroit team. Who knows what they're gonna do? Um. 20th overall offense, 10th ranked passing, 30th ranked rushing. I think that's all just so what Matthew Stafford can do. Because they only had 93.7 rushing yards a game, 42 sacks given up, bottom half of the league. And then, like we highlighted, they lost two starting receivers, like Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones.
I just feel like no one wants to play for this team.
Yeah, for
And they just
sure.
been down for so long, and the way that the owners run the organization, I don't see why anyone would want to come play here if they had a chance to go other places. But hey, it's still an NFL team.
Yeah,
Jared Goff, he has took a team to the Super Bowl. I mean, he didn't really perform all that well, but he's been there. So I mean, at least you got a guy in there that's been there. I don't even know
yeah.
if Matthew Stafford's been one playoff game. I
Yeah,
don't remember the
for
last
sure.
time our
That
team
is
won
that is
playoffs.
something to kind of bring up with Jared Goff. Um, but yeah, like you were kind of saying, like who really wants to come to this team right now? I know some guys out there might want to come to this team and believe that they can kind of turn it around and be like a historic figure for this team. Like this guy really turned it around, brought some championships to this team, and that'd probably be good for the city. I know Matthew Stafford really loved the city, did a lot for it. He just couldn't get it done because the organization probably didn't surround him with the talent that he needed. I know sometimes they had really good teams, but they just couldn't put it together.
Yeah.
Um, they only went to the playoffs a couple times, but then I know they're running to the Saints and they'll lose to them. They just didn't have the luck of the draw, basically.
What I suggest they do is just clean house. Sell the team, get new coaches, new everything,
They probably
new
won't.
stadium. I don't know.
New stadium, get a whole new
They got
stadium.
bad voodoo there. I don't know what it is. They just can't
That's
win.
that's them. That's like the field is named Ford Field. That's where the first automotive was made in Detroit, Motor
Right.
City. Um, Pretty sure this team's has been owned by the family. A lot of NFL teams are owned by families, and then kind of just get passed down and passed down and passed down. So I'm pretty sure this is another organization like that, where it's kind of just gonna stay in the family, you know. Well, hopefully, bringing in Dan Campbell is the kind of change that they needed to put out the best product for this city. I feel like I say, he's a rough rider, kind of just embodies what Detroit is, and hopefully that kind of um, motivates his team, motivates these players to kind of buy in and be able to perform on the field. And they don't really have a lot of expectations. Hopefully they can kind of just see what these young guys got, or bring in some guys that have a chip on their shoulder and able to perform above expectations.
Mhm.
We'll look at the defensive side of the ball. 32nd overall defense, 30th passing, 28th rushing, last in scoring defense, giving up 32.4 points a game, um, allowing opponents to score 72.3% in the red zone, second worst in the league, only 7 interceptions at 24 sacks, um, top five least in the NFL. Then gave up 38 passing touchdowns and 27 rushing touchdowns, both the worst in the NFL. So they gave up a league total 68 total touchdowns, the league worst. So this defense can pretty much just get better from here. You can't really match those numbers again, or hopefully they can't do that because that'll be even worse.
Right.
I don't think Dan Campbell will still have a job if he allowed this defense to perform like that.
Yeah, that's just sad. Like that's why I'm surprised they even won 5 games. When I saw their record, I was like, oh shit, I thought they was gonna be probably like 2, 3 wins. You feel me? But
Yeah,
it's all good. I mean, you bring in a new coaching staff, you expect a lot to change. Um, I think they got a whole bucket of things, a whole list of things that they need to
yeah,
change. but obviously defense should be probably your top priority. And then trying to find some pieces around Jared Goff, uh, if that's who you want to roll with for the future. I know they're sitting at a good spot in the draft. They could have some guys fall to them, but I think really they should really they need to focus on not only the culture but personnel. They need to focus on scheme. They need a whole list of things to get done, and that's why you brought in a new coach.
Yeah, he definitely has a lot of things to check off on his list to do. Because this team basically just gotta start from square one. Like, basically, if I was a coach, I'll probably show all these stats and be like, "Hey, this is what we were in the past," and just maybe do like something pretty cool to kind of get the team riled up and be like, "Hey, this is embarrassing for us."
Right.
Take it a little bit personal, and then hopefully just work. Maybe put that up like in the weight room, and they all see it and go work out.
Yeah, it's got to
Just
be a
something,
pride thing.
something to kind of just get your pride back, basically, and kind of just
Mhm.
um, turn this franchise around. But yeah, look ahead in the draft. Seventh overall pick, like you were saying, really good spot for them to kind of either get one of these quarterbacks that might fall to them, maybe trade up, go get Justin Fields. I know Jared Goff is probably not the future, but I know a lot of mock drafts have them just picking up an offensive weapon. You could really in a good spot to pick up one of these receivers, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, or Jamar Chase. Um, so yeah, you got to go get offensive weapons because you got rid of two of them. So you got to kind of replace that. You can't just leave these guys out.
Mhm.
Bringing in guys that aren't going to perform. Because Jared Goff can't do it all. He needs his. He had talent in L.A. that was able to kind of make up for him. Um, but you got to help him out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you let both of them walk without going and thinking you're going to go get a wide receiver or something to
Yeah.
replace the production that these dudes
Hmm.
produced over the last few years. Like I think both of these dudes are really talented, or Marvin Jones and Kenny Galladay. Like they were really talented. They just didn't see a lot of light because of what the market is for Detroit and not being able to get that TV time. No one really knew. Like if you know football, you know about them, but if you don't, you really wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, and they produced a lot for this team with that set number 7 pick. If you don't believe in Jared Goff and one of these QBs comes down, maybe you take a QB, but I don't know. I think you at least see what he can do. I mean, get him some weapons and I don't know, see
Yeah.
where it goes from there. I mean, or I guess you could trade down if you don't like really any of these dudes, see if you could collect a few because you know there's going to be some teams trying to push into the top 10, you feel me, top 8, top 9 to go get a QB. So
Yeah.
if they really want one of those dudes and they sit in there and they really need to send the house for it, I would consider moving back, especially if it's you just want some threats that could be there later in the first.
Yeah. For sure. I also just thought about this thing too. Um, the Alabama team offense was stacked. They had Tua Tagovailoa, a top 5 pick last year, Henry Ruggs and Jerry Judy, first round receivers. They got two more this year with Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. So at
Yeah.
one time, they have 4 first round receivers and a first round quarterback, and then a first round running back. It had Josh Jacobs and they had Najee Harris.
Mm-hmm.
That team is stacked.
And don't even count. You're not even counting the O linemen that come
Yeah,
out of there like
not
year after
even.
year.
Yeah, they had Jedrick Wills last year, first round pick. Um, but kudos to Bama, man. They just produce these NFL guys.
Man, like it's nothing.
That's crazy. 4 first rounders that you can just throw to. And they're
Yeah, that's
all
pretty
probably, I
good.
mean, they all could be stars in the NFL. It's just up to them, but that's crazy.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I mean,
Yeah.
For Detroit, really, they don't have a real high ceiling right now. I think what you want to see from them is just see if they can improve on this 5-11 record. Maybe get to like 6-11 because there's going to be an extra game this year.
Yeah,
6-11,
true.
7-10. You feel me? Somewhere on
That's
there.
so weird. Now we
Um,
gotta consider that extra
yeah, I
game.
got to really think about like, oh, they're adding an extra game now.
Yeah,
So just consistent, again, being better, growth, uh, and defensively, you can't be 32nd. Like someone's got to be it, but you don't want it to be.
yeah, for sure. Um, we'll wrap up this division. We're gonna give our division picks. I'll let you go ahead for and pick one first, Jayden. Jay Wood.
Go pack, go pack. I mean, they're right there, 13-3. Offense, top offense in the league. Defense, mid of the pack. You go maybe in the draft, get you another threat for Aaron Rodgers or solidify your defense a little bit. And I believe you right there again. They always right there though. So what's going to take them to the next level, really? And I think it's going to be defense. You heard about their defense, Black, and are they traded for someone on the defense? Like, I mean, I would like to see a threat for Aaron Rodgers, but is it necessary? I mean, you can find wide receiver, you can find running backs everywhere. So
Yeah,
defense would be my suggestion, but I'm gonna go with the Packers.
yeah. I'm gonna have to follow in those footsteps and pick the Packers. Feel like as long as you got Aaron Rodgers, you have the best chance to win this division, especially with the Bears inconsistent. I mean, the only threat I kind of see is the Vikings, and they
Yeah,
have to kind of depend on that defense coming together a little bit more this year. I think it's between the Packers and Vikings, but can never go wrong picking Aaron Rodgers. Even though
yeah,
I did pick him winning the Super Bowl this year. Even though they didn't come through there, it still had a shot. Because you have Aaron Rodgers, MVP year this past year. Bringing back Aaron Jones, still got Devontae Adams. Hopefully they improve on the offensive line, maybe. Um, but yeah, I think it's their division to lose, kind of like how the Chiefs division is for them to lose. Um,
mhm.
but yeah, I easily see this team basically kind of doing the same thing. Might lose a little step or might lose one or two more games. Um, but, I see them competing again. It's a top team in this conference.
Yeah. They'll be right back up there again unless there's some sort of injuries or something to derail them.
Yeah, for sure.
But the Vikings, I wouldn't sleep on them. I
Yeah,
wouldn't sleep on them too long because once they get that defense solidified, they'll be right back into those games again. So I can see Vikings pushing for this division, but I'm gonna go with the Pack
yeah.
solidify.
Go Pack, go! Like you were saying. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up, though. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, subscribe, smash that like button, throw in some comments in here, give us your division picks. Let us know if you think we know what we're talking about, if we're just some dumb heads on here just rambling about these NFL teams. Just let us know.
Yeah,
We love to interact with you guys. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. See y'all later.
doses.